we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Emmanuel James Rohn. We're back. Good morning.
Good morning.
A little Sunday morning coffee chat, I think. I have no agenda for this episode. Here with Brit again, obviously, the only guest, female guest at that as well, who's willing to actually brave the TISM cave. Really, the only notes I had or things I kind of wrote down when I was sort of brainstorming about what to talk this week was just so my birthday is established canon. So I had my birthday last week, and it's one of those things where I just became completely unplugged from social media, from YouTube, from news and all that stuff. I still haven't really been posting a lot. I got to get back on that. I've just been very much sort of turned off from that and just doing stuff. And the world hasn't gone to shit.
Yep.
The apocalypse hasn't happened.
It's still there.
Nobody's nuked anybody yet. So that was just a nice little reminder that we work ourselves up, we let things become these big deals, and they're all going to be there when you want to go back to them. So,
and you had a great birthday, and it was, I think, good for you to chill a little bit.
It was fun. It was a good time. I do have a couple news stories that recently flew across my desk. What's new with you? Nothing?
I don't know. Yeah, just work.
Work?
Yeah.
A lot of work lately.
A lot of work.
The winter months, the fall months I'm not going to say winter. Fall needs its due. Fall's coming. A lot of the trees have already lost their leaves, though, which is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it's been feeling like winter already.
We haven't even gotten 30 degrees yet. It's only been 40 and 50.
Well, yeah, I guess on the lake we've been having pretty cold days.
Effect, yeah, that's fair. We have had 1-2 snows, maybe?
Oh, yeah, we had snow on Halloween.
That's right. Snow on Halloween. Yeah. Love this state. It's awesome.
I unironically did love the snow, but I know we have very different opinions.
You're a little Miss Christmas.
I
am. I'm not opposed to Christmas.
I was also in a Christmas town.
Yeah.
We took a little birthday trip for my mom, and we were in a Christmas town when it started snowing, so it was perfect.
I'm not opposed to Christmas. I think the hyper commercial aspect of it really turns me off.
Sure, I get
the
that.
New Christmas songs, they all suck. They're all terrible. The old Christmas songs, the classic church hymns, I enjoy unironically. Except Little Drummer Boy. I think Little Drummer Boy is dumb. I think it's a really stupid song. The classics too, like the Sinatra stuff, like the old school Christmas, I enjoy, but in limited quantities. I can't just be blasting it the second Halloween's over. I know you took that personally.
Right.
But yeah.
But I would agree. I fall more on the classic Christmas than I can't just play pop Christmas all day. You know what I love? Because at work I have a dual monitor set up. On YouTube they have a bunch of just it'll be Christmas from Another Room, or honestly just those fireplace scenes, or it'll be Christmas in a cafe, whatever. But it's basically just background landscapes, and it will have the Christmas from Another Room one. It's always really soft Christmas music, but it'll have fireplace sounds or something underneath it.
It's the lo-fi hip hop beats to study to, but it's the most you version of it.
But it's just the Christmas version. I will play that 8 hours a day at work.
That's hilarious.
Because sometimes I can't have lyrics or words when I'm doing stuff, because I have to be focused.
I love listening to certain podcasts, but I find that if I'm really listening to podcasts, I'm not really working.
Yeah, it depends what I'm doing.
And if I am working, I tune back into the podcast 30 minutes, an hour later and go, I don't know what's been happening.
You missed it all.
Yeah. I've been working, actually. So, similar to driving and listening to a podcast, it's tough because you can zone out and drive a little bit. You shouldn't, but you can and really listen to the podcast. But I found that I just skip through the podcasts basically as I'm driving because I'm
'Cause you're
just so
zoning
focused
out.
on not crashing.
I have gotten really into listening to podcasts when I drive. I love like podcasts in general.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't do audiobooks though.
No,
I
I haven't.
have to have a physical book.
I haven't tried it, but I just enjoy reading a physical book so much. Like at lunch, or outside in the summer, just by the pool,
Yeah.
or anytime I can just get some sun in, I'll just read a book. I love that physical thing. And someone said, "Oh, just get a Kindle." I'm like, yeah,
But
I don't
then,
know.
and I know Kindles are made with like your eyes in mind,
Yeah.
like they're built in with features. But even so, like I look
It's
at
not
a
the
screen all
same.
day. If I read a book, it's because I don't want to look at a screen.
Yeah, right.
But the other thing with audiobooks is I feel like whoever's reading and narrating it, it's always too slow. I'm a
Oh,
very
really?
fast reader, and
Interesting.
I
I
get
wouldn't
irritated.
call myself a fast reader only because I'll go through like pages similar to like podcasts, like I just mentioned, where my eyes went over the words, but I didn't comprehend it. So I forced myself to go back, and I may end up rereading a page like 2 or 3 times if like a sentence or like there's some grammar that doesn't really click in my head right, and I'll sort of go back and pick it apart, and like I guess that's sort of the tism in me. But with every book I find a section or two where I'm just like it's not reading right in my head, and I got to go back and make sure I understand it.
You also read stuff that it's like very appropriate to do that. Like I feel like you read
Like all
things that
nonfiction
a lot of
and
nonfiction, like stuff that is like
science
thought provoking, like stuff you should
medical,
go
yeah.
back and read a couple of times to really get it.
Some philosophical, yeah, you're right.
Whereas like that, like I don't need to be going back
That's fair.
and catching up on things other than like the 50 names that I maybe missed.
You were describing it, that book you're reading,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounded just like the different classes they put people in, like warrior stuff
Mm-hmm.
and all that. I was like, categorize that just like a video game for the male brain to comprehend too. So I was fascinated to understand why you were so into it, because I'm like,
That's pretty much what it
those
is.
are words
Yeah.
and categories that all dudes would get.
It's just a great book.
There you go.
There's a lot of action in it. I don't know, it's good.
Nonfiction's just
sometimes
never been
have-
for me. I just can't get into it. Like, you can get into it clearly.
I-
The world building, the character development.
But not always. Like, I haven't read a book in this genre for a long time because I don't always enjoy, like, well, in, like, the fantasy world. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't always have the patience to sit through, like, the setup in a book because sometimes, like, in a series, it'll take, like, 3 books before they have the world really
Yeah,
set
that's
up.
ridiculous.
And I can't do that. I will admit, like, my attention span's a lot shorter now. So, like, I need to be in within the first, like, 100 pages of the book or else I'm not going to read like 3 more to figure out the world you're building.
That's where I'm at with, so these right here, the Gulag archipelagos, they're written by an actual survivor, like, of, like, the Soviet era, like, gulags. Like, he was, like, a KGB agent. And then, I'm not sure, I haven't read this far yet, because I can't get through it, the first part of the book 1. And then he was suddenly just, like, convicted of, like, selling state secrets, and so just instantly picked up by the secret police, thrown into these, essentially, like, concentration camps or work camps that the Soviets were running at the time. And he shares, like, his experience, other experiences of people who made it, who didn't make it, and, like, this pamphlet, like, the single copy pamphlet of papers ended up getting passed around to, like, thousands of people around, like, Russia, like, basically showing them how terrible, like, things were. It's a very, very good read. All 3 volumes are very, very good, and I know they're very, very good. They're a huge part of just, like, history and all this stuff. So I should be into it. I can't for some reason. It's one of those things where it's
Sometimes
like
you
I
just
know
can't.
there's 2 whole books after this whole book, and I sort of already have the premise in my head of what it's going to be about. I just need to force myself to read it. That's my problem.
That's what happened with the one I was reading about that guy who was like an FBI,
Yeah.
like undercover agent from the city. And the book had the best reviews, and I just was so annoyed with like the whole premise and this guy. And it wasn't nonfiction. I mean, it
Well,
was.
you made me chuckle because you said they really made the FBI guy come out to be a real scumbag.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is truly nonfiction then. Fuck those guys. I don't know if you've heard, but in New Jersey, it happened Friday, I believe. The FBI has like a huge manhunt, like looking for some dude. They said he was like at like the January 6th like riot. They were in the woods looking for this dude, all day because he used like pepper spray in some scenario. Either he bought it or he used it in self-defense in some capacity.
Recently, or
Yeah, Friday. They were trying to arrest him for that. And on its own, you're kind of like, okay, well, like, he was at the Capitol, and regardless of your beliefs about that, like, we just walked away from the whole main thing, where it was well documented that the FBI knew he was a problem but couldn't locate him. They literally said, we knew he was a threat, we just couldn't locate him at the time. And you zoom out and you see we're fucking around in the New Jersey woods looking for some dude who popped pepper spray somewhere. No shit, you can't find the people who are the real problem. Like, what the hell are we doing?
why are we going after this guy?
Like, so yeah, you said FBI, and I was like, that's that's pretty true. They're probably just a bunch of scumbags. Sorry, I haven't gotten through one coffee. I'm in a happy mood, I promise.
We're bouncing all over the place. I can tell we're.
That was, my
That's a good
autism brought me
tangent.
back because that was one of the headlines that sort of came across my desk. I was going to bring up at one point. I can't finish a book though, unfortunately, but that's never been a problem for me. I've been able to just go one, I'll buy another, and I'll go through, and that's sort of how I finished all of these right here. But I was in the middle of the false alarm book about climate change.
Yeah.
And the first, half of it's written so well. I was like, I got a whole bunch of information, a whole bunch of science was sort of went over, and history. I thought that was really great. And so similar to the Gulag, archipelagos, I was like, all right, I got the premise. Next. Shouldn't do that, but I did that. And then I started reading The Holy Mushroom and the Cross, which for those who don't know, was written by John Marco Allegro, who was, I don't know if he was a monk, but he was definitely like a theology professor. He was one of the guys who deciphered and translated the Dead Sea Scrolls, and his takeaway was that our understanding of Catholicism, because again, the Bible and a lot of what came from Christianity and Catholicism came from the Dead Sea Scrolls, which was sort of told to be like the birthplace, the origin of like the writings. His claim was that the Sumerian on the tablets basically was more or could be interpreted as the practices, the rites, the ceremonies of like a mushroom fertility like cult or religion. So that's really interesting. But boy, it's not a quick read.
Yeah,
it's not a light
you're not
read.
enjoying it.
You're going over characters and a whole bunch of, it's just, it's a lot. You can't really sit down casually on a lunch break, with 15 minutes after you're done eating and go, I'm going to get a couple chapters in.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to happen. So that slowed down. Now I'm reading Shot IQ. I think that's what it's called. Basically, a bow hunter wrote it about how to like shoot better. One of the big things that really messes people's shots up. And he writes it more from like a bow hunting sort of position, but it applies to all sorts of shooting because his sort of theory goes, once you get, on target, your body is already bracing for the impact of the shot, whether it be a bow, whether it be a gun, like a gun's going to kick. Your mind will never allow you to surprise or like shock the body knowingly with like a stimulus. And so because of that, you start overcompensating, you start jerking a little bit, trying to prevent the impact from like really surprising you. So his whole method or the whole book's supposed to be about how to get over that, how to compensate for that, I guess. I just started that. It's only 60 pages, so I'll be back onto the mushroom book.
You're getting into my wheelhouse now. That whole
Oh, really?
neurocompensatory thing. Yeah, that's a lot of
how
what
so?
we do. That's just like a lot of what we look at in the research lab that I'm in, like how your brain controls movement and reacts to it and predicts for it.
Gotcha.
Because in
More so
what
like a
you just said,
walking
well,
sense?
yeah, but not even just that, but like in terms of overcompensating for like disturbances that it's preparing for or that it think might happen.
Interesting. Any AI developments that we want to go over too? Because AI is still chugging along.
I feel like you were just talking about something the other day.
So Musk just dropped his own
Yeah.
on the world. I've been in several meetings just last week alone about how AI is going to be dragged in and already is being incorporated in the mortgage industry, and I have very mixed feelings about that and its use. I think if it's going to be used to glean data from documents, actual just like numbers, I think that's fine. I think if it comes to an actual like application and like lending decision, it shouldn't be anywhere near that. I think people want to put it on the front end as much as possible. I think that's just where a lot of the effort goes to in mortgages. Like anything else, sales is going to consume a lot of effort. There's a lot of inefficiency there. So I think people are going to want to throw it at the sales end of the spectrum or side of the equation. And that's where I think you really open yourself up to risk of just potential flaws, I think, in how it's coded and in how it carries things out. Because I think the mortgage industry especially, and rightfully so, is very sensitive to discrimination or perceived discrimination. And so if a pattern begins to emerge with the AI's decision making on the sales front, I think that's going to be pitchfork and torches very quickly.
That is a big thing with AI. Is a lot of the models are known to have bias in them. They're
I
pretty
need to take
bias
this
heavy.
sweatshirt off. You're good.
Yeah,
Keep
the
talking.
sun is gonna get pretty warm in here now.
It's the fall. It's the winter. It's cold. It's 80 degrees in here.
It is cold.
It's really warm in here, though.
It's just, I mean, the sun coming in these windows does not help. But yeah, AI models are known to like struggle with bias. That is a big thing that they're. Sorry, I wasn't sure where he was going.
Oh yeah, Bodie's
Bodie
back
on
on
the
the
loose.
podcast again.
Bodie's on the loose.
Eat your food, dude.
No, I'll just stare at it all day.
I'll stare at it, and then when I perceive you as a threat, I'm going to take it. It's hands. We're throwing hands.
But yeah, there are things like built in, obviously, to try to discriminate against the bias in the model. So it's like a penalty function. If it is rewarding something based on bias, then you can penalize
Put it
the
in its
model
place?
for that. Yep, pretty much.
That's funny. Yeah.
But yeah,
there's
that is definitely a concern. I'm going to a seminar next week on AI. So
It really does seem to be that silver bullet everyone's focusing on, isn't it? I guess it is like, we haven't really had a big, huge advancement in technology really in a while, have we? I think this sort of, and I don't know, maybe, I don't know if we touched on this originally, but is it really that big of an advancement, or are a lot of people just latching on to like the buzzword AI and calling AI things, and maybe really it's like not really fully worked out, or it feels like a lot of hype
over
over
my
something
opinion,
that like
I
it's
think,
cool, it's fun, but it doesn't seem like it's that big of a.
I think people grab on to the buzzwords.
Yeah.
I think it's something to freak out about or be excited about, and I think people latch onto the buzzwords because this has been around for so long.
Yeah.
And it's used every day in ways that people don't realize, but it's the big, like, hot ticket items that will, draw attention and create issues.
Yeah, like it's being used every day, but it wasn't really put in the hands of people in a way that it could do their homework for them.
Right.
I think that's what.
That's becoming.
It became more consumer friendly, I think, than professional or industrial grade stuff.
I do think there has been more talk about it because I agree, like there was more of a boom, and it became an issue of rapidly all of these services were available to students, like you said, and so people aren't doing their own work. Like,
he's fine.
stop.
He's fine.
Bodhi, stop. We had, oh my God, I'll never forget. This made me so mad. This kid, who was also doing his PhD in my lab, and he made a comment, and he's like, well, like, ChatGPT, like, I'm just going to have it write, like, the parts, like, of my dissertation.
This is like, what, like master's level too,
No,
right?
this is PhD.
PhD
Like, he was
level?
another,
Oh,
like,
Jesus
PhD
Christ,
kid.
yeah.
And he's telling me how he, like, used ChatGPT to write his thesis. And I was like, just go away. Like, to me, that, I don't know. If you're at the level where, like, you're getting a PhD, you have to have some kind of personal integrity where you're like, I recognize these tools. They're helpful.
Right.
Sure, I'll use them. I think it's fine to use them to be like, give me information on this, whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. Use ChatGPT as like a reference. If you're going to use it and literally copy paste, write your thesis on it, you don't deserve to have that thesis.
Well,
Like, do your own
even
work.
so, I have a buddy who's going through law school, and like, it's doing all the assignments for him basically. of like the essays, the papers, because like a lot of the prompts and questions in those classes have been asked before, so there's a lot of information already out there on it, and so it'll write a perfect answer and like reply for like, you know, a legal, like a law school
Yeah.
sort of assignment, and that's just what he does. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It
that
is. And
lawyers are just gonna get cranked out of school after having ChatGPT run through the gambit for them.
Yeah, and my issue, like on the PhD side of it too, is when you get a PhD, like your thesis is supposed to be something that, like realistically, has not been done before. Like
Sure.
that's the point of it, and like you're proving.
That's another, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like you're proving these things. So it's not really your original thoughts and your original ideas, and you're falsely saying that I had these ideas. Now, he didn't, it wasn't to that extent. He used it to write like summaries of
Sure.
articles. It wasn't like he was saying, you know, truly like write this prompt for me. But still, like it was kind of along the same line. And I don't know, that's just a questionable area to me because that is, it's, yeah, I don't know.
Because then it's not about, yeah, you're not doing it, you're not learning anything, and then you're gonna get this piece of paper that opens up so and so doors for you that says you've done or know this, when really, do you?
Yeah, you are now certified as like, they always tell us like when you come out of your PhD, like you should be the most knowledgeable person on that one specific topic. And of course it's, you know, then they tell you, well, don't get too narrow focused, like be really broad, like know about everything, whatever. But you're not, like that's not true then because you didn't do the work on it.
Yeah. I've only used it to like generate images, like for thumbnails, and that's really been it. I've never asked it a question. I've never felt compelled to ask it a question or tell it to write something for me, because my go-to is just like, I'm just gonna Google something.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a company, I think there were some Apple, like early Apple employees or something, they came out with this like smart pin, like a pin like you wear like on like your sort of like lapel area, and it's supposed to just like replace your phone. It's AI, completely AI based. There's a camera in it. You got like cloud storage, completely voice controlled. It'll have like if you want to like read a message, you can hold out your hand and have like a laser projector on like your hand, which sounds really cool. But they're sort of hailing it as this thing that's going to replace phones, and who knows, maybe. But I think it'd be very annoying to have people just talking out loud to control it all the time. That'd be very strange.
The other thing too is like,
I also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I also don't think we're moving away from this, because the screens, the colors, we've already been over how every single aspect of a phone, every app on it is designed to keep you sucked
it's
into it.
addicting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we're moving away from that anytime soon. I think that's going to be a niche, cool thing that some hype people are going to get. And I won't get it either, just because I don't want to be that guy like talking to my device, telling me what to do.
It's already so annoying when you see guys with like their little like Bluetooth earpieces in and they're running to their meetings and they're talking out loud. Like, just pick up your phone, whatever.
When I was on the way back from Philly, or maybe it was Texas, I can't remember because they were back to back. I was on a connecting flight from, I think it was Texas. I think it was Houston Hobby, or it was IAH. I can't remember. On the way back from Texas, there's a connecting flight. I forget where it was. Then we were going to Detroit. So on the original flight, I'm going, and I'm next to a very nice lady actually, and she was telling me, we're on a Southwest flight. She was telling me how like her daughter is like a stewardess for United, and I was like, so why are you flying with the enemy?
Yeah.
She's like, they just didn't have a flight to this airport, so I just had to hop on this flight. I was like, okay, cool. And then 2 rows behind us, there is some gentleman. I won't go into great detail about. Never mind. Screaming, like yelling on his phone. Clearly has like AirPods in or something in, because there's just no way he knows how loud he's being, and saying all sorts of things you just should not be saying out loud. F, you know, fuck, bitch, you know, other racial sort of like slurs that I am not allowed to say. Talking to his buddy about this girl he's with and all this stuff.
Jeez.
And me and this woman are just like, what the fuck? Like, and it just went on. No one stopped him. It's like, oh, so that's great. And then, so I land at whatever airport it is I'm waiting for the connecting flight. And sure as shit, as
He's on your
the
flight.
plane is loading, he comes running to the
Oh,
gate, and I
no.
go, "Of course you're coming back with me. Of course you are." And he asked me, he's like, "Is this going to, I was like, "Uh-huh." I should have been like, "No,
No,
actually, it's
that
that
was
one
down a
over
few
there."
gates.
Send him to Florida or something.
People just have no filter.
And the airport,
whatsoever.
too, that's just the
Oh my
airport,
God.
though. Norms and
It's
just,
wild.
what's the other word I'm looking for? Norms, and I think just etiquette
Manners,
in general.
etiquette.
Manners, yeah, manners. That's
There
the word I'm
is
looking
no
for.
etiquette
Straight
on
out
a
the
plane.
window at the
It's
airport. And the
people are
people
so
who just get
entitled.
up and sprint down the aisle from
Get
the
up and
back of
sprint
the
down the
plane,
aisle.
like you're running a 40-yard dash to the front
Yeah.
of the plane, like,
Yelling at like the stewardess if the plane
oh yeah,
lands
that's
late. Like, well,
yeah, because they can control that, yeah.
I know. We had such like a bad
Let me get you some
delay.
more coffee.
Yeah, thank you. It was, well, probably about a year ago now. I was flying overseas and we had this connecting flight in London, and we
Oh,
got
wow.
super backed up, and basically everybody was going to miss their flight.
Yeah.
So the line of us,
Which I
like,
can
trying-
tell you, that flight to Chicago that I missed, trying to get to Texas,
Yeah.
that was same thing. Everybody missed their connecting flight, and they had to
Yeah.
find connections for everybody who was on that plane. A lot of people didn't get it. I
Yeah.
almost didn't. I basically didn't because I had to go. It completely fucked up my trip. It's very stressful, and they're not very efficient with it.
Oh, it is.
And they don't
Well,
do a good job
now
at it.
you have people trying to fly to, I mean, places all over the world where you might only have one flight every other day available. So, like this couple behind me, they were flying out for a wedding in this country they were trying to get to. Truly had like a flight every other day. So they automatically, like, they already missed the wedding.
You're screwed, yeah.
But, like when we landed, there's, nothing obviously that like the stewardess can do. Like the pilot can't even pull the plane up to
Right.
the deck. Like we can't get off. And these people are just going
American?
off. Some. Actually,
Okay.
it wasn't a lot because at that point, I think, where was I coming
Typically, you
from?
can tell by their size.
Yes, yes. I had picked up, I can't remember where I flew from, but I think it was a good mix, but it was like also non-Americans like getting
Okay, I mean, I
pissed as
figure
well.
other side
It
of
was
the world,
also
but
a
I've
lot of
seen that.
Americans. But no,
for the
because
most part-
I flew out of DC, so we still had, it was a good mix.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, just like going off on this stewardess, and she's like, I don't know, like,
do you want me to
I
do?
don't know what you want me to do. And
Yeah.
I like eventually said something to this woman, because also she was like right behind me, and I wanted her to like shut up and stop yapping.
That's
And I
dangerous, putting
probably
yourself
shouldn't
out there,
have, I
yeah.
know, but I like said to her, I was like, what do you want her to do? She can't drive the plane up and get us off. And like, what do you want her to do? And she's like,
Careful,
well,
she's
I'm
gonna fight
missing.
you.
Well, she'll be fine. I have no
I
fighting
get
skills.
that, but then
I'm
you're
like,
on
I'll
the
be
local
fine.
news. Then you're, no, probably the, CNN level sort of news.
Oh,
but-
and then she had the audacity to leave her purse.
Okay.
And so then she had to come all the way back, block everyone's way, come get her purse.
Probably ran to the front of the plane, forgot her purse. Those
But yeah,
people
there just is
crack me up.
there's no etiquette.
And every now and then, there's like a hero that like gets up and just stands in the aisleway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, block him, baby. Don't let him out. And you can tell the person's just breathing down their neck. They're like
Yeah.
trying to go. I'm like, we're going to the same
Why are we
place,
going to
dude.
the same place?
Yeah. I get it though. There are times we've been very late to a connection, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, God, I wish I could just sprint up there.
Yeah.
But
Now, for the most part, though, if you're on a connecting and they can like see that your plane
They
has
won't
landed,
let it,
they
yeah.
won't let it go.
I've never
And
missed one, and I've gotten on late. They have held it just like you said. But a lot of people don't know that, I guess, at the same
Right,
time.
I get
But
it.
I'm not letting them off the hook. They all suck as individuals.
I did miss a flight in Atlanta once where they should have held it, and it was
Atlanta's a
so
big hub,
Atlanta's
though.
big, and
Yeah.
we were about to go in your eye.
They don't bother me.
Please get it.
They don't bother me. I don't have contacts.
I know. I
They
think
get
I
it?
have. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it hurts me to see because I know if one went in, my contacts would
Yeah.
absolutely rip.
Man, I just eat those.
But yeah, no airport etiquette.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of.
It's hilarious just to watch, too.
Oh yeah.
It's not also the gathering of the most healthy individuals either.
It's not.
Well, the airport's also the place where you go and it's fine to just get hammered and eat Chick-fil-A at 6 in the morning.
Yes.
So, like, of course it's not the epitome of health, but...
Now, I will say the biggest upgrade I've ever made in my life is becoming a lounge member at the airport.
Yeah, I don't fly enough for that, though.
Yeah, see, that is the thing. If you fly enough, it's so worth it.
I'm sure it makes a difference.
It really does make a difference. You have like peace in the airport. The lounges are very nice. Honestly, a lot of them usually have like spots if you need to go and sleep and stuff too.
Yeah.
They also hold your baggage or your like luggage if you want to just like go walk around for a while. Food's usually pretty good. It's all included, like food,
to
drink.
partake in someone's lounge membership.
Yeah.
And yes, we drank and ate plenty.
Yeah, and it's all, I mean, it's included, but truly that has made such a difference. I think just flying, like, as much as I like do for work
I do
and
want to challenge the good food thing, because I've only had the breakfast, and it's basically a hotel breakfast.
Now, let me tell you, it depends, because...
I've been to the Delta Sky Lounge.
Okay, so I have...
At various airports, and it still seems to be like hotel level breakfast.
Yeah, I have Priority Pass, which means I can get into... So I couldn't get into... I don't think I can get into Delta with Priority Pass.
They even got more strict with it too lately, I think.
Yeah, Priority Pass is open to like anyone who participates in it, basically, like any of the lounges. So like Lufthansa is like a really common one. Like I can fly or like do their lounges. Emirates has like a few
Oh, I bet
lounges.
their lounges are probably unreal.
So cool. I think I'm trying to remember where I did. I wasn't like in the Emirates. It was somewhere. I think it was in DC. They had a lounge that was cool. Anyways, it's just like different ones. And I will say different ones will have better food and they'll have better like setups and amenities.
The Miami Delta one surprisingly was not that great.
Not great.
Well, they're all the same though to me. I haven't been to like a Delta Sky Lounge.
That's fair because you are going to like the same lounge. Like for Priority Pass, that is the tricky thing with it though. It's like you're not guaranteed that the terminal you're in will have a lounge, but it's cool because they're all different.
Yeah.
But that same like London fiasco, whatever. Fortunately, there was a Priority Pass lounge in my terminal, so I went there. The most classic British. It was like beans and pretty much like those little white sandwich buns.
Jesus,
that was the breakfast,
beans and toast.
and it was literally beans and toast in this lounge.
I hate the British.
I know, but then one time in Switzerland,
pop off.
I will show you pictures of this lounge.
Swiss are so cool.
It was the lounge. You had to go up to like this airport. It's kind of smaller, so there's only like 2 stories to it. Really, you go up to the 2nd story, and it wraps around. It's like a skylight lounge.
Yep.
So you lay in these chairs, and the whole ceiling is just like open. The food was amazing. If you go downstairs to the 2nd floor of it, there's a waterfall. There's palm trees. Pops off.
I bet.
So anyways, and Priority Pass is not like, it's really not that expensive. And I think a lot of times, like mine is through my credit card.
Okay. Do you have is like a Sky Miles credit card though?
No, I have Capital One.
I had Capital One. I got a couple, but the primary one I use is the Amazon Prime one.
Oh, yeah.
Just through Visa because I buy so much from Amazon. I know I probably shouldn't, but it's so convenient.
That's smart,
and
though.
You get 5% cash back on all Amazon purchases.
Oh, that's so smart.
It's like 2 on gas, 5% on Whole Foods, and then there's like a rotating one. But the cash back's so good on it, and I shop so frequently on Amazon, like it's a no-brainer.
I turn on the Capital One shopping feature. It's just
I
like
have
a
that and
plug-in.
Honey's so good.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that before. But it's so nice because then, it just automatically gets you cash back on.
I found that each sites will prefer one over the other. Sometimes Capital One will have coupons for a site, sometimes Honey will. Sometimes there's a mix of both. Like Optics Planet, the site where I buy a lot of like my accessories for my guns and shit, the Capital One plugin and the Honey plugin have a fuck ton of codes, and they're all different.
Yeah.
And so I can try like 20 some odd codes every time I'm going to like check out, and I'll save like $60+ on average. It's nuts.
Is Honey tied to any specific credit card?
I don't think so.
It's just,
I think they did it first, and then Capital One came out with it.
Gotcha.
It was just a browser extension.
I just always use the Capital One extension, I guess, because I know I'm going to be paying with Capital One. But if the Honey one can be used regardless, maybe I'll put that one on too.
I mean, it's free. Like the worst thing that can happen is that you don't get any coupons, but it just
Right.
expands your chances or makes your chances better of finding some money to get off on your order. The British. Oh yeah. Do you see the clip that's been going around lately? I think it's the new King Charles. He's the guy in charge now of the UK or Britain or however the fuck that works. He was making a royal address or however the fuck they do their monopoly ass government over there. But he was saying how it's like his mission and goal to like bring down the cost of living while wearing like a $400 million crown. Like, because you've done such a good job of that so far. Yes, definitely. It's just so ironic. It was incredible. The internet picked up on it immediately and just ran with it.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, fuck yeah, get his dumb ass. That's just politics in general. Yeah, chug
I'm
that
not
water.
laughing at you.
No, I know he's chugging it. I don't think the mic's gonna pick that up.
No,
but
I
he's
don't
going
think
to
so
town
either.
on that food and water right now.
Good. He doesn't usually.
Yeah. Oh,
That was a fun little tangent again.
we talked about what happened on the New York subway a while ago, right? The guy who choked out the homeless guy. I don't know. I got to do an update on that. I don't know where that's at. Another New York subway incident just played out.
Of course.
Yeah, because the subway, they do such a good job at keeping it safe. I guess a woman was being like assaulted. I don't know if the guy was homeless. I don't know what the deal was with him. And a bystander actually stepped in. He had a gun. He didn't shoot the guy. He just fired warning shots. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was shot. The guy who shot the warning shots was arrested.
Of course.
Reckless use of a firearm, negligent, just whatever it was, got picked up. Like, well, what the fuck? Like the fact, I applaud the guy for actually stepping in after seeing what happened on a very national level to the guy who stepped in last time and did something. And this guy was like, didn't shoot the guy, didn't shoot at the guy, just fired it, warning shots to scare him off. And I get it. Devil's advocate, you can't be just shooting. I don't know where he pointed it. He could have pointed it at the ground. Hopefully that's where he pointed it, but like still there's a chance of it ricocheting and doing things. So like, I get that. But he could have just shot the guy too. It's just like, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Just let it happen? No, please stop.
Right.
Don't. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Your subway is not safe. And like, if someone wants to step in and like, I get it, you can't have everyone trying to be, Batman out here, but like, it's just so...
It really does surprise me that the subway system there doesn't have more police or security or something.
Oh, I read off the stats one week.
God.
It's abysmal how unsafe the subway system in New York is.
Which sucks because he's going to town.
Hi there, dude.
In theory, it's a great public transit system, but no one's going to use it if it's
No, it's terrible.
not safe.
It's terrible. It's just a place for the homeless to just prey on people trying to get to work. And nothing's going to get done about it.
And not everyone, it's so expensive to live there. Like, people can't afford to Uber everywhere, so people will have to take the subway.
I forgot about that it's like the average rent's like, I think it's
like $5,000.
I read the median rent, it's high 3s or low 4s.
It's, I think, 4s.
Median rent. That's fucking crazy. And I have to get assaulted on the subway just to get to and from work. I'm not living in that shithole of the city then. Fuck that. That's a joke. Keep me safe, I gotta pay that much.
Yeah, it is crazy that the subway isn't more well protected.
Yeah, and like, so if cars are this whole bad thing, and you can't use gas cars, private transportation anymore, make the buses, make the trains efficient and safe.
I feel like, it's not like there aren't stories coming out of these places. I feel like you just don't hear them as much. But like the DC metro system and the Chicago metro system, those, I feel like you don't hear nearly as many stories as the New York subway system.
I don't know if I trust either of those though, either.
See, I've taken both.
You've taken
a
both?
Decent amount, yeah. And I have not had bad experiences. But...
Trains, right? Not buses?
Yeah,
okay.
Trains.
I probably keep
Chicago,
up with that trend.
Chicago runs like... But the subway, is train... Oh, yeah, that sounded painful.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't understand like why.
Yeah, I just
It could also just be the
Chicago.
population.
I know Chicago and both DC are terrible cities as well as far as like crime statistics go. Yes, I guess just be careful with public transit.
Yeah.
I'd say carry pepper spray, but then the FBI is going to come after you, so you can't carry pepper spray anymore.
Apparently.
I also found out here, I think, you need a CPL, like, you know, the concealed pistol license, just to carry a stun gun in this state, I heard. I could be wrong, but one of the, you know, the girls in the group that, you know, we sort of hang out with and go out with here, she was saying, yeah, I just got mine. I want to carry around a taser. I was like,
Whoa.
pretty sure you can just buy a taser on Amazon
Yeah.
or like eBay or whatever, like firearm site, and this gets shipped to your house. Like, I don't think you need a permit to carry a taser here.
Interesting.
But I've also learned just through recent outreach and stuff that this state has passed or proposed red or yellow, I don't know, yellow flag laws were a thing. Maybe reddish flag is what he meant, like laws, which are a big no-no. But we'll see. So I think the state has
Interesting.
shifted to a more, the state was very middle ground for a while, didn't get too political. Our newest governor is a real piece of work, though, and I think she's really accelerated the political efforts here. 'Cause my dad would always, when I would
Try to
always
distract
say,
from the roads.
yeah, because the roads look great. You know, we were just on them downtown, and you couldn't even drink your coffee because
Fantastic.
you would have just burned your face
melting.
off. This is so fucked up. But even when I was in high school, I don't know who the governor, obviously not the current governor, but I was like, whoever's in charge of this fucking state, I'm just gonna take him for a car ride. We'll go to the nicest coffee shop, go to McDonald's, I don't care where it is. I'm gonna have them hold that tray of coffees in their lap. I'm just gonna go for a ride. I'm not gonna drive recklessly. I'm not gonna go over the speed limit. We're just gonna drive through your roads, and I guarantee you're gonna burn yourself because the roads are just that bad
They're so
here.
bad.
Like, that's just atrocious. I was gonna say something else about our governor.
Political.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your dad. You started to say something about your dad.
Oh yeah, like again, when I first started driving, when I really had to sort of keep up with my own car, I would just like it became abundantly clear to me how terrible the state was because the roads were so bad. I was like, I'm moving out of here. The state sucks. The roads suck. And my dad of all people who you've actually met, very level-headed, even keeled. We think somewhat similarly. He was a little more right, but even he was just like, he's lived in more than half of the 50 states in his life just because his dad moved around a lot for his job. He's like, I've been to a lot of the states. Of all the states, Michigan is the most like, I'll have to edit that out. Although I've given it away before, so
Yeah.
we'll see how I feel about it. It's the most like even-keeled, level-headed, non-political, like balanced sort of state. They're pretty hands-off with how you live and all this stuff. So like he's like, it's the best state I've lived in so
Happy to
far
live
out of
here,
all
yeah.
of them. And instantly then I was like, that's bullshit. I'm going somewhere warm. Forget this. And so I think now he's definitely changed his mind recently, but it used to be pretty nice, I guess, aside from the roads.
Yeah.
There's a lot of theories out there why the roads are bad. People are like, oh, the winters, the salt. There are other states that have that.
My state has that as well. It's not anywhere near as bad.
We also have the highest like weight limit on our roads too.
Oh, interesting.
It turns out
that could have an
because you know all of the auto industry stuff going on here, also sharing a border with another country, allowing things to pass over the lines to get to different factories and other industrial centers. The weight limit's just sort of been stuck at this huge fucking number for a long time. So people theorize that. I'm sure it's a mix of everything and also just poor contracts because several of our state officials have been booted from office or found guilty of giving away like state work to like buddies and friends for like super cheap prices or inflated prices rather so they can make a buck. It's all messed up.
Yep.
So that's cool. Speaking of random subject changes, you see the dude, was it Panama? He was like a U.S. lawyer and like professor in a different country. He just popped like two like climate protesters in the road.
What?
It's a big thing. Like it happened yesterday or Friday. It's all over Twitter. This old man literally a lawyer and like a professor, U.S. guy in Panama or some other, I forget which country it was. It's a warm country. Protesters blocking the road, and just cold, stone cold expression. He got out, said some words, they weren't gonna move, and just popped two of them, I guess.
Jeez.
The whole internet went fucking.
Did he kill them?
Oh yeah, the internet went crazy.
Yeah, that's terrible.
A lot of people who are like, this isn't real or something, because like he's a U.S. professor and attorney doing this. Like,
I mean, we've seen that unfortunately doesn't
I
necessarily
know.
mean
I
a
think
lot.
I think he just broke. Honestly,
Yeah.
you see his face, and it's just
Oh.
as he did it, like it was just, which is crazy because Twitter now is just wild.
Yeah.
Like, the sun is now.
Yeah, you were getting.
Lasering.
I'm
me.
actually gonna have to go take this off.
Yeah.
If you can keep talking.
Yeah.
For a second.
So I think it's just a lot of people are like, yeah, like, everyone's just tired of this stuff and whatnot, and I get it, but like you can't just be doing that.
Sorry, you're gonna hear background noise here.
No, it's all good. I'm gonna have to get out of the sunlight because I am now 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah, it is heating up in here. As someone who is always cold, I can
Yeah.
agree.
I think that's an interesting thing though too, because like these people can just block streets, they could block roads and all that, and like, yeah, sure, people have, I don't know what that country's rights and rules are, but like in this country, everyone's got like a freedom, of speech. You can protest and assemble and whatnot, but like, you can't like, just like block a road.
Is this gonna be too loud?
No,
like
you're
this
fine.
Close?
That's fine. Like, so I get that. You can't just like block a road, someone's way to work, someone's way to the hospital, to the doctor. Like that is where like your rights end, is where like mine begin essentially. And if this dude travels on that road every day for work, like, again, I'm not saying what he did was good or right.
Right, yeah,
But,
you
like,
can't justify.
where the fuck are the people who we pay taxes, protect our rights, allegedly, stepping in? Why aren't they shutting that shit down immediately? Why are they letting the traffic back up get to like 100 plus cars? Like, I'm not saying, I want to make this very clear, I'm not saying jump out of your vehicle and smoke
Shoot
these people, but like, where the fuck, like, I don't know. And then you got a lot of like the Palestine, Israel stuff going on too now, and that's obviously spilling out into the streets too. Everyone's got to be fighting over it. Like, we're not fighting the war here. Like, I don't get how people get so fired up over that. Here,
Yeah.
like,
We've talked about it before. Like, if someone has a personal stake in something,
yeah,
it's hard not to get fired up and to get angry. Like, is your initial reaction.
I get that, but even still, like when ISIS was chopping off,
Right.
Catholics and Christians' head in the Middle East, I was like, yeah, fuck those guys. But like, I wasn't in the streets. I wasn't like ripping down Muslim signs of like worship or whatever. Like, I was like, cool. Well, not
cool.
Definitely not cool. But I was just kind of like, that's kind of what they do, what they've always done. Like, but I know that wasn't like the Muslim people. I know that wasn't like Iran or Iraq or where the fuck it was. I was
Right.
like, that's just like ISIS. Like, or I don't know. I didn't go out there like waving the Catholic flag in the streets.
Catholic flag.
We do have a Catholic flag, actually.
Is this a real thing?
It is.
Waving your rosary?
Yeah, so like I got the keys to heaven tattooed down my back. That's part of the flag, actually.
I did not know this
There's the
was a
keys to
thing.
heaven. I think it's like the Pope hat in there too, and then it's like yellow and white. You probably recognize it, actually.
Maybe. Passed out. Completely different topic, but when you were talking about AI earlier,
Yeah.
SAG-AFTRA finally closed on the strike. Like
Did they
reached
close?
a deal.
I know there was like a tentative deal struck.
Yep. No,
the only reason I know that is because they have to live on LinkedIn and I get constant updates about it.
They finally reached a deal, so that has ended. And part of the deal was AI protection, which was I know something that
Like just like name, image, likeness stuff, like protection.
Well, no, because like how people were worried that extras basically like
Yeah.
wouldn't be used
Right.
anymore. Sorry if that's what you just said. I feel like I'm still
To a
waking up from
degree,
this coffee.
I knew that was a problem, but I was wondering maybe so like the main actors were worried about AI like using their material or their image to like basically just replace them entirely. I know the extras were a thing.
I think it was more so the extras.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is what I was gonna say earlier too when you were talking about like the phone on the like becoming just like a laser in your hand, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of that is like it's all this futuristic stuff that I feel like we throw around, but like if you come back to reality, like that's not going to happen. Like people aren't going to be willing to give up their phones and
I
just
agree.
have something on their like chest that displays on their hand, and producers aren't and directors aren't going to want to like produce and direct nothing. Like they're going to want the physical person there, you know. That's just my opinion, but
I agree with that.
anyways, I think a lot of the like extras protection
Yeah.
is what got covered in that AI thing.
I agree. Like you're not music producers aren't going to want to jump in the studio with hologram Coolio.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they want to say like they were in the studio with like Snoop Dogg and people like that.
Right.
Which when I was talking about LinkedIn, just followed Snoop Dogg on LinkedIn. Great decision. Like Walmart will just post something, he'll just drop like 3 fire emojis on Walmart's post. Like it's just on, and it's obviously like a manager is doing it for him. But I didn't even know it was on LinkedIn. Like, and we've gone over how LinkedIn is just where brain cells go to die. But I saw he was on it one day, and I was like, this will bring some light to my day, and it absolutely has not disappointed. It's so funny.
There he
Oh,
goes.
come on, don't growl at me. Goof. What else?
What else do you have?
The guy who smoked the climate protesters, dude in New York, dude in New Jersey. Oh, a judge put up, I don't know what the legal term is, I'm no lawyer. A judge basically blocked, shut down, paused like the whole like pistol brace thing, like nationally.
Is that the thing that was going on in California?
California's still dumb, but we went over like the brace versus stock
Oh,
thing on
yes,
shorter barrel
okay.
rifles. Yeah. I've been an FPC member, so like I have like a amnesty or like a stay from it. It's like I'm able to still use like the braces, but a judge recently came out and said, no, it's dumb. Pause it. I think they still got to figure the whole thing out. But I think a judge basically like hit the pause button on the whole thing.
Saying that like there's no difference between the two?
Basically
or...
saying that like I'm not sure how they're going about it. But I think the main like route of attack, I think how FPC is going at like the lawsuit is saying like the ATF isn't like a rule-making body. Like they cannot just create a law without it going to Congress and voting on it. 'Cause that's essentially what they did. They basically came out and said, pay us $200 or it's a felony. No one voted on that. Congress didn't look at it. The president didn't look at it. It went through no chain of command. There was no separation of power. The ATF just made a law, which not how the government is set
No.
up. And so I think that's how they're going about it. I think that's why there's a pause put on it. Like you literally can't just wake up one day and go new law without it going through any checks and balances. Huge quotation marks there,
Right.
because we don't really have those. Oh, sorry, Bodhi.
No.
No.
Relax.
It's just a car. It's just a car. Breathe. Good boy.
Our
The
fierce
way his
protector,
body
I
tensed,
know.
and he went as he saw that car. He's like, violence.
I gotta protect.
I can commit violence just via barks. But yeah, so that's cool. It sucks if you paid $200
true.
though, because there's no way they're going to give that back.
Yeah,
they're
they're
going to
not
say
gonna refund.
it wasn't coerced when
Yeah.
like it kind of fucking was. Like, let's be real. You're like, you had an option not to pay it, but then you're just shouldering like a tube.
Well, wasn't that the thing where if you didn't pay it, then it was illegal?
Yeah, it's a felony.
Yeah. So you did have to pay it.
Yeah, so you could take them off and the weapon could still function, and I have one in there now actually. I can show you it. You're gonna see just how uncomfortable this thing is. like, they said you either have to pay for the brace or, open this, take it off, which is what this is. And if you put this here against your shoulder, just feel that. Just put it against it.
That's going to be so uncomfortable.
That's going to kick.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You can't get, like, your cheek on here either to look down the side, so it's not going to be accurate. It's just going to hurt. But this is their alternative to it.
Wait, what's the alternative?
If you're not going to pay your $200 for your brace,
yes, then
with a barrel under 60 inches, just take it off.
Just take it off. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. There's been a lot of really funny joke videos made. Some guy, obviously you're not a part of the same sphere, but his name is Prince Shoot Repeat. He put like a flashlight on the end of one. It's like, this is a great alternative. This is fine. It obviously fell apart, but like, this isn't going to be accurate.
Yeah.
Like,
it's going to hurt you more than anything.
I've never shot like this.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, I don't know a single soul.
So can you put yours back on now?
Yes.
But I guess it was never an issue for you because you were.
Yeah, I was an FPC member. Yeah. But now the sort of ruling applies to everybody, regardless if you're an FPC member. So yeah, that was very, very interesting. And good news, actually. But again, there's been a couple of like stays or like injunctions on it. They've all gotten overruled or it's all changed later. But hopefully that's good news.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Put this away. Oh yeah, I got the new suppressor on the Jackal, like I told you.
That came in this week?
Yeah, it came in this week. Just hilarious. It took emailing the FBI to get it. Again, we're real busy holding up random suppressor applications and actually hunting down the people who were thrown in mental hospitals for hearing voices telling them to commit mass shootings. So they're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. They really just need Bodie on the case.
Just growl at everybody.
Just growl everyone to death.
Put those teeth away, big guy. Trying to think. What do we got this week? Oh yeah, I missed out. The boys from the FM chat went on a ruck yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like just shy of 14 miles. I was bummed because my back is not in great shape.
Pretty messed up.
I heard it working out on Thursday this week. So I had to back out, and I heard there was one guy who was messaging me on the side. You know, he said like, just come, don't throw any weight on, just hike. And I was like, I'm just gonna stretch it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna relax. I'm gonna, just get back to full health because my plan, I haven't been able to do my full regimen of classes at the gym. I've been skipping Monday, Wednesday because of my groin and my hand. Both of those are like back to normal now, essentially, and then I messed up my back, of course. So I really want to get back to like Muay Thai on Monday and Wednesday, because I can kick.
Isn't your hand still an issue?
No, my hand's okay now. My hand and my groin are back. Like I'd say they're over 90% good now. But I wasn't able to kick or punch for like weeks there, and so I've been missing Muay Thai. I've been really bummed out about that.
Yeah.
And I tweaked my back, so. I really, maybe not this week, but next week, I really need to get back
Try
after
to get
it.
back on your,
because I missed that a lot. You hurt yourself at the gym too. It's funny, I turned 28 and all of a sudden I'm falling apart.
Like every time I go to the gym, I come out with an injury.
Yeah, interesting.
I get where the knee thing came from though. That would make sense. I don't understand what I did to myself.
Right?
It's a mix of like, I think, probably like heavy legs.
Heavy, yeah.
Not as in like,
yeah,
but like heavy leg day stuff and then running sprints. Yeah. I think that got it, but I don't know what I did to my shoulder.
Shoulders are a scary thing.
My knee, I'll think that it's better, and then like even here when we were sitting and like I had my legs up, it's on fire.
Knees and shoulders both are really scary things to hurt. They're just so complicated. Shoulders especially. Mm-hmm. But knees, I mean, as a tall guy, my right knee was hurting too yesterday. I was squatting a little bit, and my right knee started really bugging me. I was like, oh, God, please don't be it. Mm-hmm. Please give me a little more. That's the worst.
Like you squat, and you can just feel it. And like every time I would come up, you can just hear it click. And
I wasn't hearing the clicking. It just felt like the normal sort of like, It felt like I used to be my left knee more than my right, I think. But like the Osgood slaughters, where the
Oh, you're telling me about
cartilage
that.
between like the bones just basically just gets eroded away through
Yeah.
contact. Okay, go off,
She
King.
just got a little itch.
Yep. It felt like that sort of pain
Yeah.
when I was squatting, which is weird. I haven't felt that in years. But yeah, I'm old now, so everything's falling apart. Everything's
are.
downhill from here.
I'm still so young. Just getting great health.
Also, yeah, just gotta be better at stretching, I think, too. I don't leave enough time for that, but I need to now that I'm getting old.
Now that you're getting old. Well, I need to find another setup. It's hard because I'm not full-time in anymore,
Right.
but when I was there and I was going to the gym that was like a gym and that really great yoga studio,
Right.
it was perfect because I would go to the gym and then right after I would just stay and go to a yoga class. Now these yoga classes are not like relaxing, stretching classes.
I went to one. They were brutal.
They're brutal.
I walked out like I just went to strength and conditioning. That wasn't fucking yoga.
Yes, but it would be great because that would be like cardio at the same
It was
time.
it was cardio. It was literally
it really
cardio
is.
while I was
Yeah.
doing yoga. It was so fast paced. I was like, this isn't relaxing.
Fast pace. It's always like, well,
I
they don't
need yoga for
technically call
dummies,
it
though.
hot yoga. They call it like warm yoga because we don't turn it up that high.
Yeah, the heat comes from your movement.
They'll also turn it up to like 85 in the room.
That's a million degrees for me.
Yeah.
I'm sweating
I
right
went
now,
to
and it's probably
like
72.
a true hot yoga where I think the room was 105 or 110. I was like head between my knees almost the whole time.
I don't blame
It
you.
was so bad. But that was like such a great routine to be in because like if there was a day I needed to stretch, I'd make sure that I went to a
Yeah.
yoga class there. But it was all part of the same gym. Now it's like I have to find somewhere to do those two things separately or like do like yoga on my own pretty much, which is it's just not the same
No, I
as
hear ya.
yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
I think a gym that I'm looking at in the new place is kind of set up like the one in
Really?
it's like a mix of a studio and a gym, which
That's
would be
cool.
nice. Mm-hmm.
We talked about this yesterday. I don't know how it came up, but we got on just like how like porn's really fucking people up.
Such a tangent, but yes.
No, because I was thinking about the gym,
Okay, okay.
the studio,
Yeah.
and then I was just thinking like, how all the studios and gyms have like their influencers and social media
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And then like, I don't know how we got on the topic of just like porn just not being good for people,
Mm-hmm.
like really messing up people's like relationships and how they view, the opposite sex, mostly
Yeah.
guys and
Mostly guys.
viewing women because that's the primary watchers of porn. And I kind of got to thinking, as I was driving after we talked about that, why is there such an attack? And this is going to be a very wide web of just fuckery that I'm just going to try to pick apart here. Why is it that social media and its negative impacts are focused on so much, but there's no attack on like the porn industry?
Right.
And devil's advocate, I get that because social media, you're exposed to it a little earlier, I think, than you are porn as a kid. So, and we know social media is terrible for kids' mental health and how they're able to view themselves in the world. So I get that, cool. But we also know there's a huge relationship between big tech, social media, and the government just based on donations, requests to censor things and actually listening to said requests and carrying them out. There must be an obscene amount of money getting funneled from the porn like sites to government then. Right? Like how are they able to stay out of the firing line? Is that people in general just aren't talking about it as
That is
much?
actually a really good point. I wonder if it is like people treat that as more like hush hush, right? Like you're not
Like that it's so strange to me.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually. I don't know.
Like, I think in general too, even outside of government, I don't think people are talking about. I know people are talking about it, but just not as much as
Right.
like negative impacts of social media. And I think the social media correlation is easier to quantify and
It's probably easier
talk
too
about.
for people to relate to, because I would say more people are using social media every day than more people are
I
watching porn
agree,
every day.
but the number of people watching porn every day is
astronomical. Yes.
extremely high.
It's high. Yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, to me, it's two sides of the same coin that should be addressed. But I just find it fascinating because now, like, and there's been several discussions about, people are staying single for longer now and whatnot. And I'm not saying porn's the main driver of that. I'm not saying social media is the main driver of that. I think it's a lot of things that are playing in on just how the world is as well. It's not helping, but like, I thought about that. I was like, why the fuck isn't that being attacked?
Yeah.
There's got to be an obscene amount of
That's
money
a good point. Yeah.
being shoveled towards the state from the porn industry.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that, but that's a good point.
I can tell you right now, yeah, expectations on social media, of course, are unrealistic.
Right. It's the same.
It's blown up times 10 in porn land, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's weird to me. It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because that's something that people just don't talk about as much. Like, don't talk about.
Oh, and I have
consuming
no
as much,
doubt the
but-
second it becomes like a hot topic, of course, someone from government's going to latch on to it and
Yeah.
make it their flag plant in the ground.
to
Like, this
destroy
is my
porn.
thing. I
Yeah.
care about your mental health. This one time, all of a sudden now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm sure it has been attacked at some point. Like back, I think when the hooker gore or whatever her name was going after the music industry,
Oh.
saying he was like corrupting the minds of children and all this stuff, and you'd get like crazy rock stars like testifying in Congress and stuff, whatever that time was. I'm sure she went after it. I think that probably didn't go very well. I don't know. It's so strange to me.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I think social media fucks up a lot of kids and young adults. I think porn does, on top of that, it's like a multiplier as far as damage goes with like relationships,
Social skills. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know, Bodie.
Good thing you're a dog, man.
Bodie, we're gonna run. What are you running on? Better roads, and I'm gonna say all on assault on the porn industry, but we're gonna take down a lot more people than that, Bodie.
You're also going to have to censor what you just said. You just said your full name.
It did.
Yep.
Good catch. That's funny. It worked so well, though.
It does.
It had a good ring to it. Yeah, I guess all the debates are going on too now, or at least the GOP debates are going on too. I haven't watched a single fucking one of them.
I honestly haven't either.
I heard they're all just a terrible, terrible train wreck.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis is a great bit about that.
Oh, I'm sure.
They were like, I never watched the debates. Then like Trump went on, and it was like, you could do that. Like they were literally talking about the economy, and Trump just was like, you have a dog wife, Ted, ugly as a dog, and everyone was like, you can just fucking do
Just
that.
a roast.
And now what's just so pathetic is that like they try to do that or capture that same sort of energy now, the guys running, but while staying on topic, and it doesn't work. And it's so clear they're just trying to like copy the shock and awe sort of method to try to get your approval and your vote, that you're tough and the big guy on stage. And it's just like, none of you guys are convincing. Like, you wouldn't want this job if you weren't a fucking scumbag.
Right.
Like, I don't see anyone who's going to buy into this. We're an interesting point.
No, I honestly have not watched a single one yet.
I haven't either. I'm not going to. What do you got to say? Come here.
Let the people hear it, buddy.
We love each other.
He's being very wound up right now. He's not just
He's getting his butt pet.
sitting around gurring.
He's getting his butt pet. All dogs like that. All dogs like that. See, then he gets calm. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, this feels
Why
kind of
would you like
good.
it?
I don't know why I'm angry.
I think we might be needing to go get some food here.
Yeah, we should.
Getting pretty hungry.
Agreed. Let's source some food.
We know what happened last time.
Yes.
We were talking about that, how the last episode, that first
Editing
half
that
was,
episode was so rough.
that
'cause
was brutal to listen to. Like,
it
I
really
was fully being a bitch, low energy.
Me too. I was so quiet.
Yeah. And then
I
as
literally
soon as
cut
we came back,
12 minutes, I think, of just dead air out of there.
yeah, there was not a lot of life left in me when we started that.
No. Nope. And then you can tell as soon as we ate, we were back to
I know.
life. We were feeling good. We were chatty. We were all over the place. Before that, it was like, I don't know. What do you want to eat?
What do you want to
Just
eat?
pick something. Oh, that looks good. We haven't eaten there before.
It is true though. It's almost overwhelming when you're on like DoorDash or something and you're that hungry.
It's like
because
Netflix.
it's like I would eat anything right now.
Right.
And it is hard to choose with too many options.
Agreed. Well, what would you like to end this on? What do you got?
What do we talk about today? What is some...
Talked about everything. Books, AI, current events.
We really did. We were all over the place.
Yeah, it was a coffee episode, The
Yeah, it
caffeine
was
was
good.
flowing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've already signed off on an episode where we told people to stay off the porn, talk to real people, so I can't make that little piece of advice.
Yeah, I think that we did. We talked about that. There he goes.
Got his ass.
There he goes.
Yeah. You showed that dog.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't he know I piss there every day?
Yeah.
Doesn't he know that's my spot?
That's my spot. Bodie.
He's fine.
Yeah, maybe read a
book.
book?
Read a real book.
Read a real book.
Even if it's nonfiction, doesn't matter. Read a real book. Go outside
Yeah,
too.
I used to always think that I like only could read either historical fiction or nonfiction. Like, yeah, I don't know. And then I just would get tired of that sometimes, and I started reading fiction, and I think that's fine. Just go read a book.
Read a real book. Learn something new.
Yep.
Oh, and I think like what I said about my birthday, like take a step back from it. Like you're gonna be able to watch the Ukraine, the Israel-Palestine war. You're gonna be able to watch that on the internet whenever you want. Like that's not going anywhere. The craziness in the world isn't going anywhere. Like take a step back, do stuff for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like have a good time, take a breather.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that's gonna be there when you get back. Should you want to come back to it, Don't get wound up. Don't get stressed out. I feel like I always end on that, but I always end up like reminding myself a little bit every week, like, hey, it's okay. Like we're still here. We're still alive. Nothing's happened. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but like we're still here. It's okay. Everything's good.
Yep. I think it's a good note to end on.
Yeah, agreed. Well, thank you for joining again.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
I'll talk to everyone again next week.
Yes. Bye.